Hey, Stay, how's it going?
Hey Adam, going pretty well. I was telling Adam that I went to a friend's wedding the past week, and I've returned with one hell of a cold. So I'm gonna be a little bit, talking through my nose on today's podcast. But yeah, otherwise it was really fun, really nice, really outdoorsy. Good music, not a lot of food, which was good. I don't know if you've been to an Eastern European wedding or like weddings with lots of food in general, but that's the way it is usually. So I was glad the food was like exactly what you could eat and nothing more than that.
Didn't have a food hangover the next day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, food or drink hangover. Yeah, well, a little bit of a drink hangover, but yeah, no food hangover, luckily. Yeah, I hate it when, they pile like 7 courses, like literally 7 courses of food, and you basically, this is your like whole experience. This was only like 2 rounds, so yeah, it was pretty good, pretty fun.
Still enough room for cake at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the
Do you
cake
think
was actually good too. Yeah.
nice? Yeah, it sounds like it's just a cold and probably not COVID.
Yeah, well, you never know. I mean,
With
I
the
had it for
vaccine, I
three
mean, yeah,
days. Yeah, and it should be good, but there were lots of kids as well. I heard from parents that they've been like sick nonstop because kids go to daycare and to kindergarten, and any parents listening might know that what I'm talking about. So yeah, plenty of places where I could have got it from, but luckily it's on demand. So yeah, pretty good.
that's good.
How about you?
We're getting ready for our Mediterranean cruise later this month, and so I think we're gonna get our COVID shots and our flu shots this week, and cross our fingers that we don't get sick. Although I'm not. I'm kind of assuming that being on a cruise ship, we're going to get sick. I mean, it's
Well,
like
yeah, maybe you'll get lucky.
yeah, we have friends who call it licking doorknobs when you're like just going out into the world, not really caring. You're like, well, if it happens, it happens.
Yeah, on the other hand, you'll be on a cruise, so at least there's that. And
Yeah,
I'm assuming it's like lots of outdoors like time as well.
yeah, that's true. Probably not too much time in small enclosed spaces.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah,
That's nice. And I know you've been to like FANX. I read it on the report. How was that?
that was fun. Yeah, I've been like since I was in high school, been going to comic book and anime conventions like pretty much every year. And so when we moved to Salt Lake, we found FanX, which was previously called Comic Con, but due to some trademark disputes, they had to change the name to FanX.
Yeah, makes sense.
And it's a huge convention. Like I think it's I don't know 50, 60,000 people um, in the convention center here, and like thousands of vendors, like a lot of authors, a lot of artists, and then just a bunch of celebrities giving their talks as well. A lot of Q&As. But yeah, that was
Nice.
fun. We went. It was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and we ended up going Thursday and Friday.
Mm,
And let's see, I saw a couple of fun panels. Like we saw a fun Star Trek Next Generation panel with Will Wheaton and the actors who played like Will Riker and Geordi. Um, so that was fun. A couple other really good Q&As, and just some like panels run by you know geeky people in the community who are like hyper focused on a topic, and they're like, I'm gonna do a panel all about the music theory on why anime intros are so catchy.
wow.
And
Okay.
so
Well, that sounds really interesting, actually.
yeah,
They are really catchy.
yeah,
I've been watching Spy Family with my kid, and he's a really big fan of the intros. So much that I've had to replay like the Spy Family intros on YouTube, and he was like always jumping around when they come on. So I
Oh,
think that's like his hook to, oh, it's beginning, my favorite anime.
that's cool.
So yeah, that sounds like a fun panel and a fun convention.
Yeah, yeah, it was a good one. Or like it's at the same space that Brandon Sanderson's Dragonsteel convention's at every year, which I wasn't able to get tickets out to this year because it's sold out in like 2 hours.
Wow.
Last year
Wow.
it took like 2 months to sell out, so I thought I had time. But yeah, now I know they apparently they had fewer tickets this year than last year too, which is part of it. So I'm still crossing my fingers and trying to get a ticket because it's 3 blocks away
Yeah.
from my apartment.
Yeah, Jesus. I mean, that's mad. Like 2 hours, like sell out. And I'm assuming, it's not like just like a couple of thousand tickets, but that's really like, yeah, maybe you'll catch some on the resale. Do you have like people who resell them when the convention starts in front of or is that, I know some places do that. I know it's kind of like in the gray
Maybe.
area, but
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Like they I've been checking the website and yeah, they only had 6,000 general admission and 1,500 VIP. And so that's what sold out in the first couple hours. I think there's a Reddit community of people that are for Dragonsteel, and some of them are reselling. But I have a feeling that as soon as someone posts they want to resell, like people just swarm them.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's crazy.
yeah,
Like such high demand.
yeah. I applied to volunteer, so maybe I'll be able to get access that way.
Oh yeah, that's a good method of,
Yeah,
jumping in, especially if it's so close to like it's like practically like where you live.
yeah. And I'll probably go to the book release party for the fifth book in the Stormlight Archive series,
Oh right,
which comes out during it.
oh nice. Okay, so he's launching the book as well on this one.
Yeah, yeah. And he like I guess normally books launch on Tuesdays or
Yeah.
something, and then so he switched it up so it's going to launch on like the Saturday of the convention. That way it can be they can do a book launch party just for it.
Oh wow, that
So
must be
yeah.
nice. Salt Lake City, like Brandon Sanderson's like headquarters or whatever you call like his.
Yeah, he actually he had a panel at FANX, and he announced that they had bought land for the new, like they're building a Dragonsteel like physical location for his, and it's going to be like a bookstore, and it's kind of like an whole open like mall space. So they're going to have like a cafe, like a gaming store, like some other like a restaurant, and it's all going to be kind of in the little community. And then like there'll be tenants, and they'll hopefully get like a nerdy cafe, a
Wow.
nerd like a nerdy restaurant. So
Yeah.
keeping the theme going, and not like an Applebee's or something.
Yeah. Well, that sounds great. I mean, that's a really good plan. And is he gonna like make it in Salt Lake? Did he buy the land in Salt Lake? Or
Yeah, yeah,
oh
it's
wow.
down in I think I heard Poplar Grove, which is like right between Salt Lake and like Lehigh. But yeah, pretty much Salt Lake area.
So basically a Brandon Sanderson theme park. Like wow.
Basically,
Yeah. That sounds amazing. So
yeah.
much it's actually like a good move. When I was back in London, I used to live like near newly opened gamer cafe, and it was a place with at
Mm.
least like 100 seats, and you could grab coffee, grab something to eat, and play some board games. And they had stuff like Warhammer and all kinds of like stuff with figures and Dungeons and Dragons, and it was always packed. And I was thinking, oh wow, look at like such a good business. And I couldn't have imagined like so many people like gathering from the neighborhood, because you wouldn't like, it was, I guess, a shot in the dark. But yeah, they've made it. I was so happy to see that place like pop
It's
up
pretty
over
cool.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's really cool. There's a couple bars here that do that. Like they do like a weekly game night where a company will come in and they'll bring like 100 board games and just kind of put them out on the counter for anyone to use. But there are some weird alcohol laws here in Utah that prevent a lot of that. Like if you serve alcohol at a bar, like it has to be 21 and up.
Okay,
So you're not even
okay.
allowed to bring babies in. Like it's
Really?
so breweries here, no kids.
Oh wow. Okay, so no kids, like they, no matter if they drink
Yeah,
alcohol or not on the premises.
right. The only way you could do that is if it's a like there's two distinctions here in Utah. There's a bar, which is like you can get up and order, you can move around with your drink, and then a restaurant where you have a dedicated seat. And dedicated
Oh,
seat
okay.
places, you're allowed to have kids with alcohol.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Well, I've just come from a bar in France, and yeah, pretty much very kid friendly, so pretty different here. But
Yeah,
you know, they're the French, so it
yeah,
figures.
yeah.
Nice, nice. And on the hardcover side, I know you've been busy with trying out the migration for moving us from Next.js to Rails by
Yeah,
Inertia.
yeah. It's been going pretty well. Like, I'm like, I feel like I'm solving all the high level problems for it on the first couple pages, and then after that, it'll go a lot faster
Yeah.
because I'm trying not to like, you know, push those problems to the end because if we hit those problems and we have to turn around and go back to Next.js, I want to know that as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me share my screen for a moment. I'll show you like
Yeah, that's
kind of
perfect. I actually wanted to like ask, where do you see like those bottlenecks, and where
mm,
would you like see it as a problem for the migration to like actually be successful? Oh, look at this.
yeah. So far, the the bottleneck is or the kind of like the biggest thing I'm still trying to wrap my head around is how we do uh like the user specific statuses for every book they've interacted with and do that in a way that where we navigate between different screens it updates it in a smart way without having to fetch everything from the database when you go from page to page. Like
Mm.
with Next.js, you have these like nested layouts, and when a page is loading, it's only loading the page of like the most nested page view, and everything else around that is a layout, and that isn't changing. With Inertia, we're kind of like reloading the entire page, but it ends up being really fast because it's um, feeding the data in, and it's just like rendering it to HTML. So it my hypothesis is that it's going to be faster. But yeah, I need to like figure out that one part about like user data. So that's going to be part of this one. But yeah, this is an example of this page right now, and even in development mode, it loads like that fast, which is like so much faster than our current development mode.
Yeah, that's basically like instant. You were telling me that's like 9 milliseconds for it to load. That's basically like you won't even notice it. So it's basically you
Yeah,
just like go to it and it shows up.
yeah. Like this was that request. Like it only had to load the book, and then everything else was in Redis cache already after that first load. And then yeah, this took 19 milliseconds, 11 milliseconds,
Yeah,
41 milliseconds. So
that's
it's yeah,
like, I mean, it doesn't even matter that it loads the whole page. Anything, I guess, under like even 100 milliseconds, that's like
yeah,
not noticeable to the human eye. So that's gonna appear like almost instant.
yep. And then I have like if right now I haven't added login ability, so I have like some code I tweak to make it seem like you're logged in. So if
Yeah.
someone's logged in, then they see like a little bit different stuff, like our header and your status for the book, and like this panel down here. So I haven't read this one, but if I go to a book I have read, oops, books, I
Okay.
go to yeah, it'll have like your this
Oh,
section like
nice.
you'd expect.
Yeah.
So yeah, and this also allows us to do some other things like have right now, this part says on production, it says 16 plus friends have read this. Now we'll be able to do things like show how many friends have read this and then link to a page with everyone in your network who's read it, or everyone in your network who's currently reading it, that kind of thing.
Nice. Yeah.
Or want to
So
read it.
basically, like for any kind of complex set of data, especially like what we're doing now for the dashboard and for the stats, it's gonna be way more useful to have it like this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's going to make it a lot easier to develop as well, which is yeah. And yeah, one of the things that's been like really helpful is I'll show a moment of code here. So we have
here we go.
Let me close as much of this as I can so it's not overwhelming with 20 tabs up.
Yeah, I'm like that as well. I have a lot of stuff open.
So yeah, like this is the entire code to get the data for that page, like from here to here.
Oh, I think you have to switch tabs.
Whoop. Oh, right. I was probably
yeah.
Difference between share screen and share window.
Yeah.
Okay. Screen. And this window, share. Huh. It doesn't look like it's sharing, does it?
Not yet.
Huh. Okay, let me try. I'll try entire screen instead of window.
Let's see. Yeah.
No.
No, still doesn't do it.
Weird. Well.
Yeah.
It's a. Yeah, it says it's sharing screen, but then it doesn't actually do it. Let me try it one more time after exiting it. Screen. Yeah. I think I might have to restart to do it, and I'm not gonna go that far.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, the new thing I found is like we have so much data that we're fetching from the server, and we have to pass it off to the JavaScript side. And one of the parts I was a little worried about is like in TypeScript, you have all these like type definitions that define what the shape of the objects are that are being passed in. So like when you pass a book, you're like, a book needs to have a title and it needs to have an array of contributors. It needs to have a description, all that. And when in the current app, we've kind of done all that manually. Like we've created all these type files that say, when we query for a book, it has this, 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 and this. But there's always the chance that you'll write a GraphQL query that doesn't have all those fields. And so it won't satisfy that type and you'll just get weird errors. So the way that it's working now in Rails is we're using this library called like OJ serializers, which serializes Ruby objects down to JSON. And then there's another library called types for serializers or something like that, which will use those serializers and create TypeScript type objects, type definitions for it. So now throughout the app, the type files that we're going to be using aren't going to be written by us. They're going to be auto-generated by our Ruby code. So there's less chance of things getting out of sync. There's less chance of us making a mistake because like the types are the same all the way from the Ruby side to the client side. So I wasn't really sure how that was going to work, but yeah, I just added it yesterday and it's already like really helping me find bugs in the system.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's good to know. I mean, some of the bugs we've been like struggling with, and with the app getting bigger and us building stuff, it piles on. So, and we're a small team, so it's basically us doing debugging. So, yeah, it's like very helpful to have some of those at least, so you know where they come from, I guess.
Yeah. yeah, that's pretty much an update on this. I have a feeling that like I don't have an ETA on how long it's going to take to redo the entire rest of the site. Mostly because it's like it's combining this like migration to Rails with like all these other like high level bugs that we had
Yeah.
around like networking, around caching, around authentication, and so it's like I feel like if it takes a little longer, but we're also fixing these core issues that we've been wanting to fix, it makes it a little more worth it. So I have a feeling that pretty much this will be my October. Just if I'm done with this by the end of October, I'm going to be very happy, and that's what I'm shooting for right now.
That sounds good. That sounds good. Yeah, if it's gonna solve like a lot of the bugs we've been struggling with, it's definitely worth it. And in the meantime, I can show everybody what I was busy with. So basically, let me
Yeah,
share my entire screen. Let's see if this works. Okay, here we go. Yeah, all
yeah, I
good.
can see it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So Adam shared in the October report that I did a mockup for the dashboard, and sorry, it's on the same branch, so
Mm-hmm.
it's a little bit messy. But yeah, I managed to like put this together. So this is like what the dashboard could look like. So basically, it has like these lots and lots of widgets that you can like freely resize, remove. So we've got 4 sizes. We'll have to see, I guess, like if we keep these names for them. The only one I'm like having trouble with is the large, because like the small is like this 1 by 1, the medium is 1 by 2, the large is 2 by 1, and the extra large is 2 by 2. So okay.
Maybe instead of medium and large, we could call them like wide and tall, and then extra large
Oh
is
yeah.
large.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that actually makes sense. Okay, let's do that. So okay, we solved that. I actually like that. That's perfect. Here we go. Um,
But yeah,
yeah,
it's
and
it's really fast.
yeah, it's really good, and I found like this drag and drop library, and I managed to make it work well. I've been using for this like dashboard the cursor composer mode, because I don't think I could like build this so fast, but it basically like I told it what I wanted to do, because I was like very like keen on having these like draggable, and they actually work with a Tailwind like grid system, so it's like
Mm.
pretty it's they don't do like any like extra magic. It's just like a Tailwind system. There's also like this fixed widget that will you'll have to move around if you're not a supporter. It will have an illustration, a nice illustration here as well. So you can also drag it at the bottom and just leave it like this. And yeah, basically the plan, if we nail this, is to like make the stats show like all kinds of info related to your reading. So right now we've got currently reading. You can feature a list if you want, and maybe you will have like the completion percentage. So if you want to like show your own list and see how many books you've read from your own list, maybe you could see that. You could add a goal. You could add recommendations, and maybe for recommendations it can be like selected depending on genre, and maybe even other stuff. And you can also add the actual genres that we're working on. So this would be widgets that you can have on your dashboard. So every time you log in, you'll see that stat, and it will also appear on the stats page, but probably in another form. Yeah, and I put upcoming releases over here as well. Maybe this is like coming soon, since we don't have like much data on that. Or maybe yeah, we'll like just have it there. So yeah, basically you can customize this any way you want. So I'm just deleting like stats here. It's also like saving them to local host here. So it's
So
just Yeah. I
Is it just
figured
like
like,
a JSON object, basically?
oh yeah, I think so. So basically, let's see. This is what it does here. It has like cover layout and it has the widgets. It has a widgets registry. I mean, you'll have to clean this code
Mm-hmm.
up because it's not like I'm guessing it's like very very messy, but I just left it there because I guess cleaning code up is your thing. So probably, it's gonna make, I mean, hopefully it's gonna make things easier when you get to process it.
Yeah.
um yeah, basically it's using like a JSON
Nice.
to
Yeah.
store all these widgets. Nothing like really complicated. I told it
Yeah.
to not make it complicated, so yeah, I'm
Yeah.
hoping it did that.
In the final version, we can just have that saved to our database, and then it'll persist it across multiple devices. So if you make a
Oh
change to your
yeah.
dashboard on your mobile site, on your mobile app, or on one computer, it'll apply it to your other computer as well.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, yeah, I was wondering if that's possible, or we could only like save it to local host. But yeah, that's like way way better.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think we'll need
yeah.
that anyways, because on the back end we'll need to find all the data that will pass to the front end, and so
Okay.
we'll need to know what widgets are being shown to fetch that data to pass it in.
Okay. Oh yeah, that makes sense. And with Rails, that should be like easier, or
Yeah, yeah, that'll it'll be so much easier. And
okay,
yeah.
that's good to know. I was a bit worried about that because it's gonna be like probably like a lot of data to sync, but as like an experience, I'm hoping it's gonna be like really fun to use because you can like customize the hell out of this, and yeah, it's gonna be like really 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 nice to see what everyone's dashboard looks like and what they're building. So you can even like just get a snapshot on this and share it on social. So I got like a little share thing. It doesn't do nothing, just like yeah, does
Yeah,
this.
I was thinking that for
So
some of these,
yeah.
like that list component, for instance, I'm imagining that and some of these other widgets will need some kind of like settings for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like for a list, for instance, I was imagining that to show like your your status for a list, right? Like,
Yeah.
here's a list that you've created. You've read, 18 out of 30 books on this list. Um, maybe like some covers of books you haven't, or some kind of thing like that. So for that, you'd have to like select from a drop down to find like your list that you want to show there. Um,
Oh, true. Yeah.
and maybe for other things too that might need additional settings. Um, that was the thing. I know we were talking about like the idea of like you hit like settings in that drop down and it like flips over and the settings are on the back of the card as one
Uh,
option. But I
yeah,
guess
the
it depends.
settings could be there. Yeah, it could. I mean, the way I see it, it could either be that, and I think that would be like our first option. I'm actually gonna like implement like one version of this. So it could like flip the card or yeah, basically show settings instead of it. Or like after you load the widgets. So let's say
Mm,
you load the currently, or let's see, add a list widget. Maybe it has like an initial state where basically you set up the settings. So for a list, it would tell you select the list you want to show up, and once you select it, it just like persists that list. And yeah, maybe if you have to change it, you'd have to like delete that list.
mm.
So
Or maybe what if when you add it, it shows up like on its like turned around, so it's like on its back. And then if
oh
you go
yeah,
and
yeah.
then once you complete it, it
Uh-huh.
flips over. And then if you go to edit, it goes back to that stage.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds great. So basically, over here we could add like an edit settings or just like a settings option, and it would flip it, and you'd have like contextual info about like that this widget.
Yeah, I could see that being useful for um if you're adding a goal to the dashboard. Like I want to show
Yeah,
my reading goal, and maybe some people only want to show one reading goal. Some people might want to show like 3 reading goals,
yeah, exactly.
or like they have a page goal and a like total books goal, and they want to
Hmm.
see them both.
Yeah, basically, if you have like this goal and this goal, maybe this is a pages goal and this is like a books goal, and you want to like show them side by side. So your dashboard is, yeah,
Mm.
that's perfect. Let's do it like this. So I'm gonna try to do it so that it starts in settings mode. So that's basically the initial step. And when you confirm your like choice for the widgets, for the currently reading, for instance, it's just gonna be the currently reading, I'm guessing. um
Yeah, maybe some won't even have, or maybe an option would be like the number of books you want to see or something like that.
oh yeah,
Or
yeah, you could basically have like just one book, or so you could be reading three, but you only want to see like your one list. It's also gonna get, I mean, for some of these, I'm assuming we'll just have like some options. So for instance, for the currently reading, this might be like a little bit too big, or we can just like in version 1 we should just leave it, and if you want to have your currently reading this big with just one book, well, it's your choice, but you can make it smaller.
yeah, I was thinking like sometimes I'll see someone who has like 20 books on their currently reading list,
Mm. Oh
and for
yeah.
those cases, like and like if you go to your currently reading page, on that page we like have the update progress um version of the card where you can drag it and select like yeah, update your progress. For this currently reading card, I'm thinking that this would be a great place for people to update their progress as well. But if they have a lot of books in progress, then that would be kind of
Yeah,
tricky to show, because it's like I have a feeling these don't like, it would be difficult to get them to grow based on content, because that kind of does away with the whole grid system usefulness.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it could, yeah, for a small like widget, it wouldn't like show up properly. We can just like, I mean, I'd leave it up to everyone to figure out so that we don't create like lots of complexity for us. So you could, if you have like 20 books and you set it, and let's say the currently reading has two options, you can either show like the update progress option, or you can show only the covers of the books.
or
So
the
you
or
can
the
go,
book button, and then you just update progress
or
from
the
the
book
book
button.
button.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So we can have like multiple views like we did on the list page. So maybe for this one, if they want to like have the update progress and they make this into a small widget, they're not going to be able to see much. So, they can just make it extra large.
That's true. Probably like small, we show like covers horizontally. Maybe in wide,
Yeah,
we do that as well. And in like
yeah.
medium, we do that as well. But then in extra, or in the extra large one, that's where we show the like the big versions of the cards that let you have the drag and drop option.
Yeah, that sounds great. And we can do a scroll area here, and you can like scroll through the widget, and if you have like 20 books, you can just scroll through. That's like, I guess, an edge case, but you could do that.
Or one kind of crazy thought I just had is you know, like on Goodreads, for instance, like if you're
Yeah.
looking at your My Library page, it shows like a horizontal carousel of every book you're reading.
Uh-huh.
Um, we could do that here if we didn't want it to scroll, but then like if you have 20 things to scroll through a carousel, that's not very user friendly.
Yeah.
So we could always use like the covers at the bottom, almost like I'm imagining like your dock on your Mac as
Oh
like
yeah,
a
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
an
you could have
indicator.
like
So
yeah.
yeah, so you click on one in the middle and it like scrolls to that one, and then you can update it.
Oh yeah, that'd be neat. That'd be very cool. I mean, yeah, that sounds great.
But yeah, there's
Uh,
lots of options.
yeah. I mean, I think the next step for these would basically be to see like these are all the widgets I was thinking, could be useful. I still have to add some like stat widgets over here, but basically, I think this is a pretty good like first version. What do you think? Are there like any things that pop out to you when you're looking at like this list that we could add over here?
Yeah, good question. Let me see. So
Like something you really wanted, or like I took the feedback we had from the dashboard survey and basically based it off of that. But
mm-hmm.
I don't know if I missed anything.
um, I have a feeling like maybe like recently read. Like I have a feeling I've known people that like want to see the books they've like just recently completed because
Uh-huh.
it helps them give context for like, oh wait, there's a recently. I didn't even see
Yeah.
that.
Here we go. Yeah, recently read.
Yeah. Um, let's see. Is there anything else?
I'm guessing some stats, but yeah, I guess that's like coming up next to figure out like which stats we can actually show here and it would make sense.
Yeah. I have a feeling a lot of the other things are like, yeah, stats and yeah, there's the network activity one, which I'm imagining is like what
Just the
my
feed.
what
Yeah.
yeah, oh, it's the feed. I was thinking like um what my friends are reading, like, maybe like
Oh yeah, yeah.
here's some
Basically, yeah.
usernames and the book icons next to them on what they're reading.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So basically, like what's going on in your following feeds, and if you don't have like any, maybe we could do user recommendations at some point here if you don't have like any friends, and
Yeah.
also in the feed. But yeah, basically it would be like a shortcut to the feed since
Mm,
we're like removing that as like the landing page.
yeah, because we don't want it to go away. We just want to, yeah, have this be a jumping off point to lots of different places on the app, and the feed would be one
Yeah,
of them.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Um, yeah, let's see. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good start for sure. Like I feel like once we start using it, we're gonna find the things anyways.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
this feels like enough without trying to go overboard.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, it's more. These will have like lots, lots of options. I'm assuming. The next thing would be like to see what common things we could use. So I'm thinking like a list shows books. Recently read shows books. Recommendation shows books. Upcoming releases shows books. So maybe we can like find the common way of showing
Mm,
those with like the same options. But yeah, obviously for currently reading, you'd want to like have like an option to update progress as well. So they might be, some might have like extra settings depending on what the widget is. But yeah, all in all, like this came together like surprisingly fast. So I'm hoping we could get it out with the stats.
yeah.
And speaking about stats, let me go to this
What
page. So
we, we
basically,
we might even be able to do the dashboard first, or I'm just thinking like if we wanted to, like, we've been talking about like putting them together.
yeah.
Like, yeah, if we were to start one and finish one first, what do you lean towards? Stats or the dashboard?
Well, I think this is like closer to us being able to ship it because the stats might take a while longer just until we figure out the like ideal way to show stats and what stats to show. So I could, yeah, I I think I might lean towards the dashboard. I don't know. What's your feeling on this?
Yeah, I think it would be easier too. It's also like the stats would be part of the profile, and then we've talked about like other profile related customizations as well, like making
Yeah,
it bigger, adding the header, changing the
yeah.
background.
Let me go
So
to like for the
yeah.
stats page. I actually like started with that.
Oh,
I mocked
nice.
up like yeah what we did with the header. So basically, this would be like your custom cover, ideally, and yeah, you'd have like a profile info over here. Here you'd have your books, and here you'd have like the actual stats. And I just mocked up like this one, which is
Oh, cool.
yeah, I managed to. Well, it's still like work in progress. The styling is crap. So basically, I also managed to make it so. Yeah, just
Whoa,
update. Yeah,
nice. Wow,
and
that's looking great already.
yeah, and it actually I asked it to I asked Claude to make it so that it changes the URL. So I'm hoping we could do stuff like this. We could, right, with
Yeah,
like routing. Okay,
yeah.
that's great.
That's
So
pretty much exactly what I was thinking. Like if we make that universal, then yeah, it's kind of like whatever period we want, we could just do in the URL.
yeah, that's great. Yeah, and it changes this well, not the way it should, but anyway. And I managed to make that graph in the background as well. It uses like our Nivo slider, which is great. So basically, I mean, you're probably like the same as the dashboard, have a lot to work on the like structure of this because I don't know if it like made like the components right, but uh yeah,
Yeah,
it's I guess readable. It just like generates a random chart data now, and let's see, has the
yeah.
background
How does
chart
the
over
background
here.
chart work? I'm curious.
So it's just like a responsive
Ah,
line. So it's
oh,
using
just Nevo.
responsive line. Yeah, I told it to use Nivo, so it's using this with like options. I was surprised because it basically nailed this the first time, and I just offered it a screenshot of our actual designs, and it figured out, how to make the curve, how to, yeah, basically set all these things so that, yeah, basically generated this. It
That's
also
cool.
positioned it as well. It's got like 20 points now, but we can make it. We can customize it. So yeah, this is what I'm working with. It's like coming together like pretty fast. I just have to like iterate on it, and it's doing the stuff I'm asking it to do. So yeah, I'm also learning like a lot of like stuff in the process. uh yeah, I just made like placeholders for these, and you probably like have to organize all of these, but at least it's like readable, and
Yeah, yeah. It's looking great. What is
yeah,
the width you're using for the container page? Is it
I
LG
think
for
it's
the?
LG. Let me see. So stats. Yeah, I think it's the actual like stats page layout. Oh yeah, LG.
Yeah, it sounds good. Because yeah, that's kind of our goal with to make it
Mm-hmm.
to. So might as well
Oh yeah,
design it
we
from
could
scratch.
actually like. Do you think we could like implement it from like the dashboard then? Because the dashboard is like LG as well. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, it's looking great on laptops. So
nice. Yeah, after spending so much time with the SM small width that we're
yeah,
using, it seems like so much extra space. I have to start thinking
yeah,
in multiple columns again.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the grid works like pretty well with the dashboard, and some stats I'm guessing will make like So this is a four column layout, and basically we can pass it in as a prop. And if we want like widgets to span two columns or three and have like a small one here, we could do that. But yeah, I guess we'll have to see. I just wanted to like dive into the code so it's like more uh, I get a better feel of how it actually looks like. And yeah, so far, it's going pretty well.
Nice.
Yeah. Let me stop sharing this. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
What have there been any like parts you've hit up against where it's like how is this even gonna work?
I'm actually like asking Claude for whenever I get stuck. There was like when I was trying to figure out how the dashboard widgets would scale and how to adapt that info. I was a bit unsure of how it could like structure it, but it just like in the component it has like separate it made a component, and depending on the size you give it, it just renders different content. And I'm guessing we could duplicate that content or tweak it if it needs tweaking, or replace it altogether if it's like yeah if I mean you probably could like come up with like a smarter way to do that, but at least there was that. I wasn't sure how it would like adapt. I was thinking you'd have to pass like a million props or like yeah, but yeah, it just rendered different content. If it's SM, you render like this content. If it's small, you render this. If it's wide, you render this. If it's tall, you render this. So it's not adapting the same content. But yeah, I guess we could do that as well. This was just like the simple uh, yeah, sometimes it's offering me like very simple solutions which like evade me completely. So yeah, very very good to 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 go through that process.
How often does Claude end up breaking the app or the build completely?
No, well, yeah, often, yeah. At least until it's like gets some of the components right. But I can just tell it to solve the warnings, and it does that. Sometimes it solves it like badly, and sometimes I have to go back. So yeah, I have to like take it step by step. Sometimes when I want it to do something, and sometimes when I don't give it enough context, so I don't like tell it what I want to use. It just like implements something completely new, and it brings like a library or something else, and I'm like, oh crap, okay, don't use that library. And I don't think it can delete files, so it sometimes creates
Mm-hmm.
stuff and I have to delete it manually. So that's a bit of a, but we've come a long way since like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy to think it was just like last year that
Yeah.
LLMs really broke out in the world.
Yeah, it still like feels like they were here. Like
Yeah.
if they continue on this, I still haven't used like the OpenAI O1. I heard that's good as well. But yeah, I mean, if you really uh, know what you're looking for, they're really like helpful.
Yeah.
They still
And
mess up like in a lot of ways, but they're very useful. Like
I was I was reading about there's another editor that's not Cursor. It's like was it like open code or something like that? But the idea is it's a another editor and you can tie it in with any models of your own. So you could download a model and run it completely offline with a
mm,
with a model to run everything.
I
Which
think
yeah,
yeah.
it's a pretty neat idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the basically what we're gonna see in the future. Basically, have your like own hosted or like integrated LLM and be able to do that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like very very exciting. I've also seen like we're also thinking of where could like reading go. I was seeing like the new Meta glasses, and
Hmm.
that's like for reading. I think that's gonna be like a really good use case because those are like
Mm.
way easier to use. And basically, if you can hook them up to like a voice model, you can also narrate the book, and you can also like ask it about the book. It's like reading the book with someone, which is a bit, uncanny, I guess. But yeah,
Yeah,
some
it doesn't feel like you're like off in your own world like you are with the Apple Vision Pro headset.
yeah,
So
uh-huh.
it feels like you can be in the same room with someone and you're
Yeah,
still in the same room with them. I mean, I think the pass through on the Apple Vision Pro is amazing and like it's an insane device, but it lacks the human ability that you get from having just glasses.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, there are some like pretty chunky glasses, but still,
Yeah,
See,
I mean that's where it's at now. Like I can't. I wonder where it'll be at in 5 years because yeah,
yeah,
man, yeah. Augmented reality is one of the things that I'm most interested in like as a concept. Like just the idea of being able to walk out around in the world and have it say like, oh, that tree is a this kind of tree. This or just have it annotate things like, oh, this building was built in 1927. Here's the history of it.
yeah,
Like it opens up a new way of seeing the world, which I am very excited about. But there's also downsides of that if it's like um Black Mirror episode where it's like this person has a low reputation, don't talk to them.
yeah. I'm betting it's gonna be used like in the good cases and the bad cases. Just like the internet. I mean,
Yeah.
look at what we can do, like for this kind of stuff. But look at what's like bad stuff is out there as well. Yeah, Govin is saying maybe something like the Kingsman glasses meetup. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah,
Convenient.
very. I can't wait to actually like try some of these on. I don't know when the meta ones are releasing, but yeah, I don't think I'll get to have them in Paris. In Europe, even the LLMs like take a little longer for approval. Not like the best move they made, but yeah, I'm using ChatGPT right now. Like you said, taking photos of stuff, like
Mm.
diagnosing my plants or like doing stuff in the house. Like so, if I get that through glasses, that's gonna be like, whoa, okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what more could I want. So, if they
Yeah.
actually nail that sometime, at some point, I'm gonna be like really impressed.
It's kind of like, you'd ask Siri a question and you're talking like verbally, but being able to like ask a question and like see it in like a little window over here. Like yesterday I was making a cocktail and I like, looked up the recipe. If I could just say, recipe for blah, and it just like pins it over
Yeah,
here. Like
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's gonna be like, I mean, everybody's gonna be wearing glasses, but everybody's on their smartphones now. So, and I'm really curious because for us, for books, like LLMs and AI generated content and it's like reading, and it's gonna be like a whole new thing. I don't even know like what, you know. uh, what's gonna happen to it, but I'm
have
hoping we'll be like thinking about this after we get the dashboard and the stats done.
mm, have you seen the what is it, the Google Notebook LLM?
The one that makes a podcast out of everything.
Yeah.
I didn't try it. Did you try it?
No, I mean, unless this right here was created by the thing you're listening to. I mean, you never know.
Yeah, exactly. We could be LLM generated. Wow. I wouldn't like. I mean, as I was using this, it gets scarily good sometimes, and I'm like learning now. But they put it in Figma, so they're like basically like it's learning what designers do. It's learning what steps are needed to create a good design. It's already seems like to be able to like reason about what you want. It's basically back and forth, but there's a really nice comic a friend of mine sent me. I'm gonna give it to you because it's like a bit it's a free panel thing, but basically the idea is that it's a robot asking a human, like the humans telling it, oh, you can do this, what's so special about that? And basically the robot convinces the human that what they're doing is basically like the same thing. So it's like back and forth, like quick back and forth in your brain, and basically like that's like your decision process. So it's kind of like simulating that. I was thinking, oh shit, okay, maybe that's like how simple it is for us. I mean, I'm kind of like doing that. So basically, I'm saying something, then I'm asking myself that I'm saying something. So basically, if you could replicate that, that's like,
Yeah, I think I saw something like that for like the breakdown of the O, like the what is it, like the O1 one, where it's
the
like,
one.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
like it was sequencing it out. It's like, I'm gonna try this, and then it tries it, and it's like, no, I'm gonna iterate and try this. So it was like showing your work mode was fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like, yeah, that's a bit like okay, is it actually gonna be? So we're joking now
Yeah.
that it's gonna replace, because obviously it's gonna power up and speed up development, but
Yeah.
maybe at some point.
I mean, just the idea, like, when I was in high school, for instance, and I remember there were some books I like didn't read in time, and so I had to grab the cliff notes for right before a test. I imagine like nowadays you could say, I'm going to copy this code, put it into a Google notebook, and say, make me a podcast in this form describing everything that happens in the book. And then I listen to that on the way to school, and that's
Yeah.
that's like, downloading the book's info to my head. It's not
Oh
like,
yeah.
it's not reading the book, it's not getting the full feel of the book, but it's getting the blink list of it, it's getting the
Yeah,
cliff notes of it.
exactly. Yeah.
It's
Yeah, that's actually one of the good use cases. You know.
yeah.
Nice.
Well,
Well, I think we're like almost out of time. So I guess these were like the updates that we're working on. It's like we're trying to ship these like as fast as possible. We know, we've been like building up to all of these features, but I think the migration to Rails and basically being able to get at least like a first version of these out the door and iterate on it, I think it's gonna sync up well.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think the dashboard we can probably write in as like the first thing that we can do Rails first, which
Yeah.
makes me think, once I get to a good point on the Inertia.js branch, what I'm planning on doing is merging it back into main, and then we could probably move the dashboard to the Rails side, and then we could, and the stat stuff to the Rails side, and then we can like just continue iterating on it there, because it won't be deployed. Like, even if we deploy it, it's not going to be the site that people use. So we could like basically build it up, keep deploying it, and
True.
then
Yeah.
when it's ready, we just switch the entire site over to Rails.
Yeah,
And
that sounds great. Yeah.
yeah, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
once I get to the point I merge the inertia branch in, we can create like another branch, or maybe it'll just keep being the inertia branch, and then we'll just keep merging that into main whenever we're at a good point.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
great. I'm gonna go ahead and do the settings for each
Mhm.
stat and basically start building each one. I'm gonna use like mock images and mock data, but if we get a feel of like each component, how it looks like in its final like mode, then you can come in with the data, and I'm guessing it's gonna be like pretty fast to hook everything up.
Yeah. If you use the if you're able to use like the book cover component for like the book covers, that would be good. So
Yeah,
that'll
I'll be trying to do that. It sometimes I'm getting like some errors that are related, I guess, to server components. But we can maybe sync up on Discord for that, and maybe make some mock components based on off of those, like client components, so I can use them easier. But yeah, we can sync that up on that and see. I'll try that. Yeah, use the book
sounds good.
covers.
Yeah, or I could also help like maybe in the um, yeah with Rails we could have it like generate like X random books and just send those over, and then it would show like those random covers or something
Oh,
like that.
yeah, and that could actually work as well. Yeah.
Like so it's using the real thing but with mock data instead of real data.
Yeah, that would actually work. Nice. Maybe we can sync up on that and yeah, make it so it's easier to mock stuff up.
Sounds good. Well,
Perfect.
good talks today. I will talk to you next week. Have a
Yeah,
good one.
perfect. Thanks everyone for watching. Bye bye. See you next week.
Bye.